Jonathan Kaminga is 100% right. He came out and said he believes the Warriors have stunted and strung his career along for 4 seasons. And he has 100% of the reason here. And he's completely correct in my opinion, because in the last 4 seasons, this is Jonathan Kaminga's numbers. First year as a rookie, 9 points, 50% from the field goal, 33% from three, and then he averaged 3 rebounds and basically an assist. Following year, not too much growth, but there's slight growth. Every stat improves. Following year, there is a significant amount of growth. He starts averaging 16 points, and keep in mind, he's yet to get 30 minutes. He is averaging less than 27 minutes, 26, and then 24 the next season. But he has high averages. He's a great scorer. He's probably one of the best young power forwards in the league, only 22 years of age. But due to the way Steve Kerr kind of has the team, Jonathan Kaminga's growth has been kind of strung along, because obviously they have Draymond Green. They have no plans of benching Draymond Green. Understandable. He's been, he's a 4-time champ with them. He's been amazing for them. But Jonathan Kaminga just has been disrespected as well, because he doesn't really get the minutes that he deserves. Instead, they come in and trade for Jimmy Butler, who ends up taking even more minutes away from him, which is ironic because, once injuries started happening in the playoffs, they started leaning on Jonathan Kaminga, and Jonathan Kaminga did the best he could, but his averages were way up. He was probably, he was one of the higher scorers in those playoff games that he was giving a significant role after, you had injuries going on with the Warriors during the playoffs, But, Kaminga, he's now a restricted free agent, and he absolutely hates the Warriors, and I completely understand, because just so you don't have to read all this, what's basically that is going on is that the Suns and Kings are trying to give this man, around 4 years, $90 million, which would be double of what the Warriors are offering Kaminga. So Kaminga has two options right now with the Warriors. So he either accepts the Warriors deal, which is a 2-year, $45 million, half of what the Kings and Suns are willing to give this guy, or he just takes the qualified offer, which is a little bit less than $8 million for the 1 year. So that is about half annually, which he would get whichever deal he would get, if that makes sense. He's getting less than half. If he doesn't accept the Warriors extension for 2 years, he's going to just get $8 million this season. So they are really messing with this bag right now. So, in all honesty, Kaminga would fit 100% on those Phoenix Suns, because the Phoenix Suns right now, they made that trade for KD, so the guard position, it's looking like Booker with Jalen Green, then you have Dillon Brooks and Grayson Allen. Dillon Brooks is probably going to play small forward unless you have Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen. There's options, basically. And then power forward, they don't really have a guy, but center, they have Mark Williams, and then they drafted the guy from Duke. So really what the Phoenix Suns are missing is a power forward, and I'm going to say this. If Kaminga somehow was traded to the Phoenix Suns, I think the Phoenix Suns have the potential, not saying it were to happen, to get up to a 5th seed in the NBA. Up to a 5th seed, because they would be basically the opposite of what they've been the past few years, which is a team full of vets. You got Bradley Beal, KD, you got the unction going on, being slow on transition. Now you're going to be running it with Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, Kuminga, and either Mark Williams or the center from Duke, right? So that is a lot better transitionally, and this team is going to win you a lot more games than it was when it was the unction plus Booker. So right here is getting screwed from an opportunity of having success in the NBA when it comes to winning games, and him having a significant role, finally getting over 30 minutes. Not only that, they're messing with his bag. The Warriors are basically committed to keeping him this season. They feel like he's going to be there opening day. If it's with the 1 year $8 million or the 2 years $45 million, they don't really care. But all they know is that they're going to have Jonathan Kaminga the following year. So that's why he genuinely hates them, because Steve Kerr, to me, he's been one of those head coaches that have been blessed with a super team. He wasn't really the man who made the Splash Bros. We all know that. He inherited that team. And then he wins 2015. K-Love, Kyrie out. Following year, now everybody's healthy. You blow a 3-1 lead. Next year, they give you KD instead. So those 2 next championships, KD basically won them for you, because without KD, you probably don't win those championships. You probably don't even make the finals in 18. I think the Rockets get through without KD. And then 2019, you lose to the Raptors. I'll give you the injuries part. And then 22, you also have a bit of an injury riddled ring, you may argue. Tons of injuries throughout the Western Conference, going through it. Yeah, you beat Boston. This is Boston's first time in the finals. But to me, Steve Kerr is probably one of the most overrated coaches in the league. And this is a quite big example because he's mismanaged Jonathan Kaminga. You check Jonathan Kaminga and you think, wow, imagine if this guy was a second or third option instead of the fifth or sixth option. This guy's numbers would be elite. If you gave this man 32 minutes, he might be averaging over 20 points per game. I give you 27-3 would be his averages if he averaged 6 more minutes a game. But obviously, with the Warriors, he has to wait for an injury to get his opportunity to have a significant role in this offense. And still, he's averaging over 15 points the last 2 years. So, to me, Kaminga, a sign and trade to the Suns would be mostly ideal. But it seems like the Suns are valuing my buddy here, Ryan Dunn, a little too highly. They think he's going to be developed into an elite 3-and-D. But if I'm going to be honest with you, you have a lot of guard depth, and you could really let go of this guy in order to, in a sense, get a major hole filled, because you are lacking a power forward. And if you have Kaminga instead of pushing Royce O'Neal again there, you're going to win a lot more games. And I would, if I were a Phoenix Sun, if I was Devin Booker, I'd drive Ryan Dunn to the airport and send him to Golden State. I'm picking up Kaminga and letting him have the room, because you might actually go from a team that's going to miss the playoffs or possibly sneak into the play-in to actually have a spot in the playoffs and avoid the play-in if you can bring in Kaminga and he has that jump. Devin Booker has, a season that he typically has. Jalen Green gets a little more consistent. Dylan Brooks becomes defensively great at the small forward position. You have 2 young centers that could be exciting. And then on the bench, you've got Grayson Allen. Like, there is potential in this Suns team if they could get Kaminga in. So, that's why I'm saying, Ryan Dunn, hey, ship him off. Don't let that stop you from getting Kaminga. And then the Warriors, if I were them, you're not going to keep Kaminga long term. No way he stays long term the way he's been disrespected throughout his career with you guys. He's going to find a way to become a free agent. He knows you guys aren't going to use him all that well, so he's not going to be too risk to injury. So he's definitely going to find a way to leave you guys as soon as possible. So that is the thing with the Warriors. So best case scenario for all parties is Phoenix and the Warriors engage in trade talk, get a trade done. And then he extends, gets his 4-year, $90 million. He gets his bag. He gets his role enhanced. You're going to be 26, 27 years old in your next, payday, and it's going to be a significant increase if you can make that jump throughout. So I understand Kaminga. The Warriors, I kind of don't get. Steve Kerr as well. You just don't develop young talent like that, man. I'm sorry. Overrated coach, in my opinion. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Do you think Kaminga would fit with the Suns? And what seed do you think he'd get if he were to go on the Suns? But anyways, thank you guys for watching.